Does Heather's hold up amongst teenagers today?
I think so. I think it's almost more important these days.
I think so. I did see an interesting quote from the director that social circles have always kind of remained the same.
Hmm.
Like there's always like a popular clique, a bully, kids that are kind of lower on the totem pole, like not trying to be offensive to nerds. but,
You just
but that's
assume nerds are on the bottom ranks these days?
no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there's definitely separation amongst the groups is
Hmm.
all. But yeah, I think it could still be relevant.
Okay. Yeah, I think so too. Granted, let's set the stage here. We have been so far removed from high school at this point. It's
Yes.
half a lifetime ago for us.
Mm.
So I'm willing to assume. um,
Yeah, sure.
willing to assume things are similar. I could definitely say watching this movie, it didn't feel, because this was made in 89.
Yeah.
I felt like it wasn't that old. Like when I watched it, it seemed still pretty relevant to me. Like it didn't seem like an 80s movie, even though it's kind of basically teetering on the 90s.
Yeah, well, and it's also satirical too. So like all of the weird one-liners that are funny and sometimes kind of take you out of it because it doesn't feel like something someone would say. Under all of that, it's still relevant to like the social dynamics that you would deal with in high school.
100%.
Yeah, I would assume.
Like I said,
I don't know. Maybe you all are hugging each other and singing Kumbaya and you're good, but
we're making broad assumptions here.
yes, haven't been there. Haven't been there for a while.
I will say, interestingly enough, my high school, I felt like different groups had popular kids. Like, for example, I'm trying to think, in my grade, one of our more nerdy people made like the homecoming court and stuff like that. So how was your high school experience in terms of that?
Well, I didn't like high school. I'll just be flat out about that. But I noticed that for the most part, people that were friends very young ended up being very close friends as they got older. And then there's no really splitting that up unless something dramatic happened, like sleeping with someone's boyfriend. It would have to be of that level to make that kind of a group splinter. But yeah, I feel like ours was more generic in like the sense of like who was popular, who wasn't so much, who was kind of like in the middle. But yeah, I don't know, maybe because I wasn't in it.
Okay.
Half the time I was like, when can I go?
That's fair. I came from a private school going into high school, so I didn't know anybody. And it was interesting. I moved through to like different cliques throughout each of my years. So I don't know. I feel like my school, like obviously we had bullies and popular kids and all that stuff. But for the most part, a lot of people were actually pretty welcoming in the sense of like, hey, here's this new kid. Let's talk to him kind of a thing.
I will say anyone that was new to the school obviously got a pass. Like they could join wherever they wanted to be because then you're new, you're interesting. So
what's this? Who are you? So real quick, before we get into our discussion, we will be using the term unalive. This movie deals a lot with it. So we're going to try to not use that other word that YouTube doesn't like. So just a heads up there. But that leads me to my first point is I was surprised at how much it deals with that. And it goes there for basically the second half of the movie.
Right. And I've only seen this one other time, so I felt like they only got away with kind of one unaliving, and then the other ones were sort of like circumstantial. It wasn't necessarily an unaliving, it was something else kind of thing. But then I was like, oh, well, no, they're really going for it.
Yeah, I was going to say there really isn't an actual one except towards the end if you count our...
Veronica? Oh, yeah, no, JD
yeah.
End.
I'm like, Veronica survives. What?
Well, no, but she does create a noose at one point to trick him into thinking that she has unalived herself. So that was what I was thinking of.
But that was a little trick.
That was a little trick. I don't know how the dynamics of that trick worked, but I was like, how are you alive?
So she had it wrapped around her waist and stuff and then up around to make it look like it was holding her by her neck, but she was being held by her body.
Oh, okay. Because she was like, and I was like, so she was choking herself?
I don't think so. Could you imagine she's just like hanging there for an hour waiting for him to show up? He's like, sir?
Anytime now. And then he monologues at her and I was like, Jesus.
Oh my God.
we gotta get down.
What do you think about the Heathers themselves as characters? Because they are all very different.
Yeah, I like the different personalities of the Heathers. I don't necessarily get why they are popular, honestly, on an individual front, but I like that they're a little bit more dynamic in that way, just differing personalities,
Mhm.
especially like when you compare them to Mean Girls, because in a nutshell, this is essentially Mean Girls with murder. So
Yeah, in a way.
it's really easy to compare like a trio of girls against another trio of girls. And I'm assuming this had some inspiration when they were writing Mean Girls.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think they do differ a little bit. I honestly feel bad for Heather Duke a lot of the time, even though like she does kind of fill in for Heather Chandler, which was our Regina George, essentially. And I think she just kind of had the freedom to come into her own, and she just didn't know where to go from there.
Yeah, one of my notes watching this, because we were hanging out yesterday, and I kind of mostly jokingly said that Heather Duke was the victim of this whole thing, and we stan Heather Duke. Like, I was kind of kidding, but also it's interesting because when watching this movie, because she does kind of fill that role, they're like, well, Heather Chandler's gone, so we need a new leader. It's
Right.
interesting that JD really does manipulate her, kind
Yeah.
of pushing her into this direction a little bit more than maybe she would have gotten there on her own.
Yeah, because honestly, the moment that Heather Chandler is announced as unalived, she had been suffering with an eating disorder prior. And the moment she hears of her death, she is just eating chicken like she's never had chicken before, and it's the greatest thing that's ever happened. And there was like a sense of relief. It seemed like she just wanted to be herself without this judgment from this girl
Mhm.
that was unfortunately her friend.
Yeah.
Which I don't
Yeah.
know how, but yes.
Maybe it was one of those situations where they were friends as kids, kind of how you talked about
Yeah, I guess
earlier. Like
I
maybe
guess
they
so.
just were part of that friend group as children.
Mhm.
I guess along the same lines, like how is Veronica friends with the Heathers? That's what I'm.
I know. Oh, I gotta get into it. Let me have my piece. Okay, so I was introduced to this movie through the musical. So the
Okay.
musical is I don't remember when the musical came out, but I listened to it probably end of college, and I was like, oh, this is based off a movie. I'd love to see the movie. I was like, oh, this isn't the same. Not necessarily. There are some one-liners and stuff that they took and put in the musical or added to songs. Like I Love My Dead Gay Son is a song,
Oh my
which
god.
is a little funny, but like sad, but funny.
Mhm.
But then there's a little bit different setup to the beginning of it. Veronica is bullied and is friends with Martha Dunstock.
Okay.
In the musical, there is no Betty, or at least that I recall. And Veronica happens to help the Heathers out with a forgery to get them out of getting detention. And that's how she becomes kind of enmeshed with the Heathers.
Oh, okay.
And then Veronica starts to see like immediately that it's not a good thing because they're mean to people.
Hmm.
And immediately they want her to write a note to Martha about how Kurt is in love with her and embarrass her. So similar to the movie, but not exactly the same starting point. They kind of enmeshed Betty and Martha into one character.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm.
Because it's going through the movie, you're like, obviously she's a very sympathetic character to others. She doesn't outright try to be mean, but she does go along with a lot of these plans.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, girl, like, you should know better. Like, don't do this. Like, forging the note in the beginning of the movie, she's making a note to make it seem like one of the football players is like,
In Love with Martha.
yeah,
It's the same idea. Yeah.
yeah. So she goes along with it. And then even in the one part, her and Heather M, the yellow Heather, they go on a date with the two football
A
players.
double, yeah, as a
And
favor.
she's basically Heather M is getting assaulted in the background, and Veronica
Yes.
does nothing. What?
She's just like, she wanted to be here. Like, what?
Right.
Yeah,
So,
she ignores some weird situations a couple of times, and I'm like, maybe Veronica isn't that good.
right. She
Like
has
you
her
can kind of
moments.
you can kind of give her the benefit of the doubt when JD gets involved, but there are moments where she's acting alone, and you're like, oh, not great,
Veronica.
Veronica. Not good. Not good.
No, and yeah, to your point, like at first, once they kill Heather Chandler, you'd think she might want to cut it off completely from JD, but she's like, let's see how things progress until we hit
Yeah.
our climax. It's like, girl, you should have known.
There was a couple of points where I was like, wait. Like, one, when she first meets JD, he ends up getting in a fight with the jocks, the football players, Kurt and Ram.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulls a gun on them. And apparently they talk about it after because it just cuts.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, oh, ha ha ha, he just shot them with blanks. And I was like, never in the day of our Lord would he be coming back to school after that. Like, they were just like, oh, he just got suspended or whatever.
Right.
He'll be back. No?
Right. Yeah, it's hard because this movie is a satire, so you do have to give it a little bit of leeway with things that happen that don't make sense.
Yeah.
But that is interesting to deal with, not to delve into school shootings or anything like that, but it was jarring to see a gun at a school,
Yeah.
especially this was before like school shootings became.
I do have a quote on that from the director, Lehman. He kind of explains that they lucked out in a way because they had no idea at the time when they made it that school shootings would become as prolific as they have been. And initially they were going to have an alternate ending where they blew up the school. And in the original script, JD blew up the high school and it ended on a prom in heaven. And the head of the studio that financed the movie said, I'll make this movie and I'll let you put in all sorts of dark stuff and I won't restrict you too much. But if you insist on blowing up this high school at the end, I won't make the movie. So we backed down because we had nobody else. Nobody else was willing to pay for it.
Yeah, that's interesting because obviously no matter when they would have shown that, blowing up a high school is awful.
Yeah.
But it's even more so now. Like, I was really startled because I've seen bits and pieces of Heathers. I thought I've seen it all, but definitely didn't. And
oh, really?
I thought I had seen it all, but I'm like, no, I had not. And I was just taken aback. I'm like, oh, they really went there. And then to think about it, like, oh, this was in 89. So.
Yeah, and even going further, they were going to include in this alternate ending everyone that had passed in heaven, and now they all were getting along and stuff like that. So in the end, if they would have chosen this, it would have really romanticized it, and it would have been like, ooh, kind of thing. I don't think it would have held up as a cult classic. It would have been like a burn it kind of thing.
I mean, they already do romanticize a lot of things in this movie, especially unaliving yourself. I mean, when Heather Chandler dies and people are learning about it, she makes the front page of the school newspaper.
Yeah,
they post her note.
It's supposed to be satirical.
Exactly.
And with that. So it's romanticized, but it's also not. Like, once somebody else passes, then they are replaced and the other person is kind of forgotten in a sense. Like, they do a whole new spread and post their unaliving note and stuff like that. And even when Martha decides that she will attempt at one point, Green Heather Duke comes and says, just another kid emulating the popular kids. So it's like, oh.
My God.
Right.
She gets punched right in the face for that.
Yeah, she does. Veronica hits Heather Duke quite a bit towards the last 30 minutes of the movie.
Good for her.
Honestly, yeah.
We talked a little bit about Heather Chandler and Heather Duke. What did you think about Heather McNamara? I can never say her last
Yellow
name.
Heather?
Yeah,
McNamara?
Yellow Heather.
I don't know. I feel like she has the least personality amongst the Heathers. I thought it was interesting because Heather Duke is clearly intelligent. Like, she's always reading. She's kind of more withdrawn, focused on her own thing amongst the three Heathers. And Heather Duke and Heather McNamara kind of team up on her, which I think is interesting because it feels like it would be the other way around. Like, Heather Duke and Heather Chandler would be kind of against Yellow Heather because it seems like she's a little bit more insecure, especially once Heather Chandler is out of the picture. Heather Duke and Heather McNamara are kind of like up against each other in a way, not like trying to claim Heather Chandler's spot, but looking for faults in them to kind of push one or the other out of the idea of popularity.
Yeah, I feel like Heather Duke definitely wanted to replace Heather Chandler. I feel like Yellow Heather just didn't know what to do. Yeah, like almost, not that she didn't care. I mean, obviously she was very distraught after all these series of events because she also attempts to unalive herself.
Yes. I think she worked harder to please Heather Chandler is the thing.
I was gonna say,
that's why Heather put up with her.
I was going to say, out of the three Heathers, I actually think she was the least bad.
Yeah, I get that.
And interesting, I'm sure you noticed they all have their signature colors.
Oh, and the scrunchies, the huge scrunchies. Like, were they that big? I thought it was just a regular scrunchie, but it's like a huge ribbon that they have to tie. And I was like, did they not have the same scrunchie from before?
There's so many varieties of scrunchie stuff.
Apparently.
Not
yeah.
all scrunchies are made the same.
Maybe because the hair was bigger, they needed to have bigger scrunchie.
Yeah, if you had too much big hair,
Yeah.
you need big scrunchie. What are we doing?
Yeah. Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah. But obviously all their colors were done purposefully.
Yes.
So
Down to when they play croquet.
Yeah. Heather Chandler obviously had red, which represents her power and the leader of the clique. Heather Duke was green with envy.
Ooh.
So that symbolized her envy and ambition to become a new leader after Chandler's death. And then yellow Heather, so yellow symbolizes her cautious and timid nature.
Oh,
she later wears black when she hits rock bottom after being publicly humiliated. So
yeah,
all their colors obviously match their personalities.
Interesting. I like that.
And then obviously,
I like color analysis, honestly.
Yeah. And then Veronica has blue, which represents her contemplative and thoughtful personality, and blue is usually represents intelligence and that kind of thing.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. I thought it was cool because it definitely, I get the sense that those colors match their personalities.
Yeah, I think so. I like it a lot. Oh, I wanted to get back to Veronica avoiding the blame by just kind of playing dumb because she always has these poetic insights for the girls, especially when they're trying to do something wrong. She's like, really? Blah, 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 blah. Like, this isn't right kind of stuff. But then once JD comes up with an idea to literally kill someone, she's like, oh, okay. Like, just so easily manipulated, like with the drain cleaner with Heather Chandler. I thought that was a huge red flag. I put a note here. See, it would have been a joke if he hadn't poured the drain cleaner into a cup. Once he did that, she should have been like, no, you can go.
Yeah. Did she see that he did that, though?
Yeah, he for sure poured, she poured juice and milk in a cup next to him.
Okay.
And then took it upstairs. Yeah.
The only reason I ask is because she accidentally grabs the wrong mug and JD doesn't tell her, like, hey, you grabbed the wrong mug, the one that I did. So I didn't know if she... Because if she was so careless about it.
It's funny, too, though. So somewhere in between, which might have just been like a bad cut, JD switches it back and is the one that gives Heather Chandler the mug with the Drano in it.
Oh.
So even though Heather carried it upstairs, for some reason, JD has it back to give it to her.
Yeah, they just passed it back and forth.
They were just swapping it around. They're like, let's just play. Guess what's in the cup?
What do you got? Yeah, do you think that JD was just a really good manipulator?
I think. I don't even think he was that good, but Veronica was into him, so gave him a pass a lot of the time. Like, when he plots to kill Kurt and Ram, he says something about these bullets being special bullets that they used to attack the Nazis or something. It just takes them down for a little bit, like a tranquilizer. And she's like, okay.
I wanted to shake her. I'm like, you literally already killed somebody.
Right.
What are you... How can you trust
Why would we pull back now?
Oh my God. Yeah. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I get the I can fix him kind of vibe with this guy, with the Veronica's relationship with him. In a sense.
I get it. At one point, I did say, in one instance, I get it. He bad, he cute, with lines like, our love is God is totally something you'd want to hear from some anti-hero in a romance novel. But then he says weird stuff too, like the weird conversations he has with his dad about them playing like opposite roles in TV family sitcoms from the 50s.
Hey, son, I didn't hear you come in.
Hey, Dad. I almost forgot to introduce my girlfriend.
Oh, Veronica is my dad, Veronica.
Hi.
Son, why don't you ask your little friend to stay for dinner?
I don't know, that cadence and that weird, like, back and forth completely takes me out of it. And it seems like Veronica's like, oh, this is odd. I don't like this. And then, like, excuses herself from this, but still hangs out with him after all that's transpired with the murders and that.
Yeah, she's like, it's just a weird little quirk that I could definitely look past, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It is bizarre. And obviously his father is also kind of down with the murder.
Yeah, I think there's like a lot to the backstory of JD that we have to dig through too. Like,
Mhm.
do you think he had killed before, or like this was just a good opportunity and then he got addicted, so he wanted to keep going? Because I swear at the end he says something about even if I didn't blow up all the schools or I blew up all the schools, something like that. And I was
Mhm.
like, does that mean he actually blew up his former schools, or is he just kind of
Um,
talking in a riddle?
well, considering how new he is, and they kill Heather Chandler pretty quickly, and he does make a comment about how everything is the same, just the only difference is which locker combination he
Yeah,
has.
I cringed at that that comment. I was like, "Shut up."
I cringed at everything this boy said. Man, I don't know if he's 18, whatever he is, but I cringed at everything he said. But I'm willing to bet, as part of that, everything is the same also would apply to the fact he be killing people.
You think so? Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised to find that out. Like, he seemed pretty straightforward and knew
Comfortable with
what to.
it.
Yeah. I don't think this is something that he. Oh, let's just try this for the first time. He seemed pretty
Right.
calculated with it.
Yeah, and I think just the interactions that we see with him and his dad and what he does say about his dad to Veronica indicate that his dad might have purposely sent his mom into a building that he was blowing up.
Yeah. We get a throwaway line that, he misses his mom, and then talking about, again, unaliving herself by walking into the building. But did she do it herself? Because
Really?
the whole
Yeah.
movie is about setting it up to make it look like that's what happened.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know.
I don't
Sounds no
know.
good.
Sounds no good at all.
But
Did you like JD at any point in the movie, like at the beginning, or were you always just like, hell no?
like I said, I can see the reason she's attracted to him initially. They clearly vibe. They have a cute banter back and forth.
Mhm.
But as soon as he starts doing this weird stuff with like the drain cleaner and everything, I was like, oh, you crazy. This isn't a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
We got to go.
Yeah.
Or we got to stop this. So, yeah, I do think it's in the mindset of I need to fix him, because she relates to his idea of making the world a better place. It's just the way he wants to go about it is a lot different than what she wants.
Just a tad.
Yeah.
A little.
But I could almost argue that she considers wanting it the same way as he does, because she accepts that they are plotting to kill Kurt and Ram in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she's confused by the bullet thing, she sees him kill Kurt and he's just lying there motionless, blank eyes. He's clearly dead. And she's like, "You're okay, right?" Like,
Well, she's the one who shoots him, right?
yeah, well, then because JD sees
The
the
other
other
one.
one run away because she doesn't hit him.
Mm-hmm.
She misfires, and he chases him back to circle around, and then she ends up firing at him after sitting next to the dead body of the other the whole time. So she must have realized that that would kill him. But then afterwards, she's like, "I don't think they're okay. Like they're not looking so good." Like, yeah, honey, they're dead.
You don't say. Oh, girl, please. You shot him in the neck, I think.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. I'm like,
one was shot in the chest, and then, another might have been shot in the neck. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I like Veronica, but she definitely is complacent in a lot of things.
Yeah, and then even when she starts to get mad at Heather Duke for kind of moving into Heather Chandler's place, Veronica has this gripe with her about there will always be a new lead Heather to kind of keep the hierarchy in place. So when JD comes, they've pretty much broken up at this point. She's had enough because he wanted to plot to kill someone else, of course. Let's just keep on rolling with this. And she's like, no. But then when he sees her to be like, hey, we're in love, we should keep doing this together, he asks her what she's thinking. And she's like, well, I'm thinking about writing an unaliving note for Heather Duke. And I'm like, you can't just say that to him, this one-off statement, and not mean it, because he's now running with it.
Right. Like, at this point that he'll take whatever you say and run with it, to your point. So he's like, okay, well, you're already going to do that part, so let's see it through.
Right. I mean, then there was that dream, which was really long, and I thought he really did kill Heather Duke in that one, but no, it was just a weird fantasy thing. Not a fantasy dream, but
Yeah, might as well be a fantasy.
yeah. But yeah, I think in a way Veronica is a little bit more complicit than she's willing to let on to herself. Like, I think she sees herself as the hero at the end. And no.
I don't know if she fully redeems herself, but she does.
She stopped him, which is good, but I don't even know if him unaliving himself at the end really is justified, though, because it's not correcting all of the wrong that they did covering up the deaths. So,
I mean, it really just
I
depends.
know that would put her in jail, but honestly, they both should be in jail.
Right. It just really depends on what happens after, which we don't get to see. So does she take those corrective actions? Doubtful, but at least she did finally stand up completely against JD.
Yeah.
So I gotta give her credit where credit's due in that sense. But yeah, she's definitely still not the hero I think she might think she is.
Yeah, and I know, like, on some level you have to let her have this situation in a sense, because love bombing and all of, like, the, you know, abusive relationship qualities that kind of come along with their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a sense of delusion there.
Yeah.
But she also, as a character, wants to come across so logical that it's like, oh, why are you ignoring all of this?
Yeah, maybe it's you think you're so smart when you're a teenager like that. You think you know a lot more than you do. So maybe it's one of those situations.
Yeah, true. Maybe.
Like, girl, you know nothing.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
So, Stephanie, I have a question. If you were given $5 million and then you find out like 2 weeks later aliens are going to come to end the world, what would you do with that money?
Well, definitely not write it off on my taxes. That's definitely not what I would do. And I think it was 2 days. It wasn't even 2
Oh,
weeks.
was it 2 days?
Like, there was
Okay.
no time to face any sort of punishment from having that much money. So I'd spend it all. I'd find a way to spend it all. Honestly, I'd consider it a mission if I knew for certain. So, like, rent out the zoo, rent Disney World, you know, everything.
You don't got time for that. You got 2 days. It's such a stupid question.
Yeah, I guess in 2 days. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but still, I'd figure out how to do something.
Just to say you did it before you die.
Well, do you do all your shopping on the first day and then do the experience on the second day?
Yeah,
and you'll be good. Yeah,
for sure. Okay. I was curious. I'm like, that's so dumb.
How about you?
Probably nothing. There ain't no time.
I mean, I feel like you'd need some sort of distraction though to get away with the existential. You're going to die in 2 days.
The last thing I want to do is go shopping. I hate it. I hate shopping.
That's fair. All online then.
Yeah, hopefully I could get same day delivery.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, that would suck. But you can afford it though. You can afford to rush it.
You're right. Could you imagine these poor workers? Give me my order.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's working the last 2 days.
Ain't no way.
So we are going to separate our ratings into categories and rate them out of 3 points. And then those 3 points will be tallied up to give us our total rating for the movie overall. Alex, what do you have for your ratings?
All right, here we go. I gave plot a 0 out of 3. I gave suspense a 0 out of 3. I gave atmosphere a 0 out of 3. I gave villain a 1 out of 3. And then I did give it my extra special point for a total of 2 out of 13.
Wow.
What did you? Wait,
I was not suspecting that at all. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do your ratings and we'll go from there.
Okay. I gave plot a 2 out of 3, suspense a 1 out of 3, atmosphere a 1 out of 3, villain a 1 out of 3, and I gave it my extra special point because, you know, 80s movies are fun.
You gave Heathers a 6?
I think it's scary in a way of the teen relationship being so detrimental to society.
Interesting. Okay. That's why I gave villain a 1, because JD can be scary. But so it's, again, one of these situations we had like back-to-back, like not really scary movies, like with Ghost last week, where like the situation they're in is in real life very scary. But this is a comedy, I feel. So I'm not scared of Heathers at all. Like, I think even a 2 is... I'm not afraid to watch this movie.
Well, okay, that's fair. I guess it's more or less like what's happening in the school with JD kind of like picking a person and then forging their unaliving note and all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought the plot was an interesting satirical look at that toxic dynamic.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Maybe I could lower it to a 1.
Don't lower it if you don't want to. I just the tone of the movie, and because it's a satire comedy, I'm like, well, I'm not afraid to watch it if it's a comedy.
Okay, I could give it a 1 then. Sorry.
A 1 out of 13?
No.
Oh.
I will give it a 5. I'll lower the plot, and everything else can get a 1.
That's up to you. Whatever you want to do.
I can justify it. I don't know. I think sometimes I try to take it too literally, and that's why I'm getting a little bit higher of a score.
Yeah.
But the suspense aspect, I think it's suspenseful when she's in the dream and she thinks JD is going to kill Heather Duke. I think it's suspenseful when he has her down in the boiler room and he tries to assault her. And then we're just seeing like the ugliest side of him. Like he's hitting her. He bashes her head in at one point and she gets knocked out so he can continue setting up this bomb. So I don't know. I think it's suspenseful in those ways. And also goes to him as the villain as well in the same idea, just him as a person. And I considered giving Atmosphere negative points because it was just a high school, but high school do be scary.
It do be scary. You know what?
Scary.
You convinced me to actually give Suspense a 1.
Okay.
So I will bump that up, and then I will give a total of 3.
Okay.
I think that makes sense. There are some moments, especially towards the end with the whole bomb situation.
Yeah, there's definitely the intensity, especially when he reveals he has one strapped to himself, and she's just like, it's whatever.
It is what it is.
Just standing there, like smoking, like, yep, that'll be fine.
Yeah. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a like. And of course, you can always let us know if there's any movies you want us to cover next.
You can follow us on social media using 13 Degrees of Screams.
Bye.
Bye.